Hello, this is Jane Whiting and welcome to day 3 of our Have the Love You Deserve challenge. Yesterday we talked about our mother relationship and what a major influence this relationship has upon us in so many ways. And today we want to focus on your relationship with your father. And you might be thinking, my parents were okay, they did their best, and that's great to acknowledge that. But I want to go a lot deeper than that because ancient spiritual teachings emphasize the importance of this relationship. And in fact, they state that whenever you're having problems in your life, take a look at your relationship with your parents. So in other words, they say that setting right or creating peace within yourself, remembering this has nothing to do with the other or the outer world. It's just simply about your feelings and what's going on inside of you towards them. And from my own experience and observation, this is an ancient spiritual law that holds enormous truth and power. It's set in stone. My life would have been so much easier. I would have saved myself from many problems and a lot of heartache if I had understood these laws and applied them. So if you become more aware of the importance of this law and consciously work towards deeper love and respect in this relationship with your mum and dad, your life will be much, much easier. Both boys and girls are profoundly affected by their relationship with their parents, including their parents of the opposite sex. So how you view your parents has a big influence on how you relate to people of that same sex. So what I mean by is if how you relate to your mum affects how you relate to women, and how you relate to your dad affects how you relate to men. And your capacity or your relationship with your parents affects your capacity for healthy love in relationships. It shapes how you see yourself and your views on life. So for example, if you have a lot of hurt in your relationship with your mum, then it may well be quite difficult for you to maintain strong female friendships. And the same applies to your dad. If you had a lot of problems with your dad, then this will probably tarnish your potential for loving and healthy relationships with men. So therefore, if you find yourself experiencing, say, ongoing issues with your female friends or your male work colleagues, then take a closer look at this relationship with either your mum or dad. Hopefully you can see why I'm placing so much emphasis on this relationship. And today I want to talk specifically about fathers because there's a lot of information out there regarding the value and influence of the mother relationship. But what about the father relationship? Is that equally important? Well, yes, personally, I think absolutely yes. The role of mother and father are equally important. And the potential for healthy love in the adult life of both men and women is profoundly affected by both parents. Because from an early age, sons and daughters pick up on the way their fathers treat other women, typically their mothers. So that fathers who are abusive or verbally or non-verbally, or who are neglectful or hurtful towards their spouses, are unknowingly teaching their children how females deserve to be treated. Most women who wind up in an abusive relationship later in life report some form of abuse as a child, even if it was only a minor occurrence. Fathers who show love to their wives and daughters teach their girls that females should be treated with respect, that they should be loved and cared for by the significant others in their lives. And scientific studies show that from an early age, fathers set the standard by which their daughters will judge and view other men, not only romantically, but platonically as well. So fathers also set the standard for how their daughters believe that they should be treated by men. A father who shows love to the women in his life is nurturing and compassionate is a father who helps his daughter avoid unhealthy relationships with other men as she ages. And scientific studies have proven that the early stages of a child's life shape their future through both their conscious and unconscious perceptions of others around them, like their parents. In other words, we take on the beliefs and views on life of our mums and dads. So from an early age, a girl learns what to look for in a romantic partner by watching her own father's actions, behaviours and traits. And it's been proven that the healthier a relationship that a daughter has, and I'm sure this applies to sons also, then the easier it is for them to find a loving, caring partner in the future. If your father was very critical of women and how they looked, for example, if he was critical of overweight women, then this could impact your self-confidence and beliefs about your ability to make wise choices and decisions in life based upon what would my dad think of this. So, and also you may worry about what you wear and how you look because you're fearful of attracting his criticism. So trust and communication problems and inability to maintain healthy relationships, these are all symptoms of problems with the father relationship. Therefore, it can be helpful to recognise that unhealthy, dysfunctional relationship habits with men, these are a consequence of unhealthy father relationship issues and patterns. So a father's role is crucial. It's really crucial for the healthy emergence of his sons and daughters, for their healthy identity and self-esteem. Let's face it, we all long for close, loving relationships with our father. It's just an innate yearning. And I'll give you an example. I've thought that I had a pretty good relationship with my dad, and I certainly did, especially later in his life. But my relationship with him was also very different to my brothers, to their relationship with him. He was lots of fun and he used to make me laugh, and my friends used to like him for that also. And I always thought that my main issues were with my mother, and definitely she was the one who I have the most hurt with, and she had the most say. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Mum was the one who had the most say regarding my welfare and upbringing. But I always knew that the dynamic of the family home and the dynamics of mum and dad's relationship was affecting me in a big way. And as a young girl, and even as a young adult, it used to make me really angry to see and hear the way my dad spoke to my mum. And in fact, they both spoke quite badly to each other. They argued a lot. But Dad used to dominate, and this happens a lot, and it used to infuriate me when I heard the way he used to put Mum down and belittle her, especially in regards to her looks or the clothes she was wearing. And I guess that was his way of hurting her the most, and this happens a lot. They were my role models for adult communication and couple relationships, and they weren't very good at it. It wasn't very good. They didn't know how to share their emotions or feelings in a way that was productive, which probably, almost absolutely certainly, was an inherited behaviour from their own childhood upbringing and also the times that they lived in, the times that my parents lived in. And I do believe that as women who are more in tune with our feelings and emotions, that we can help the men in our lives express themselves and tune into their own emotions. But my mum was really damaged and really troubled from her own life experiences and her own childhood. And this was a huge handicap for her and for both of them actually in their marriage. So in the early years of my marriage, I was inept at expressing my true feelings. I didn't know how to communicate in a productive way. The only method that I knew if I was unhappy regarding something came from blame and criticism or tears. And my mum definitely played the role of the weaker sex, which is very, very common, and consequently so did I. And my programming was men treat women badly. And in the early years of my marriage, my husband did behave badly, just like my dad did. But to his defence, he married me not knowing that I was so troubled by my childhood, and this pushed him away. He didn't know how to handle it. And I've since learned that this is a big turn-off for men. If they commit themselves in a relationship thinking that you have it all together and then they find out the opposite, it's a big turn-off. But fortunately for both of us, something clicked inside of me, and I just knew that I had to make some major changes within myself, because I was determined not to follow in my mother's footsteps and have a miserable life and miserable relationships. So therefore, the point that I'm making here is that we inherit the programming and the beliefs and the views on life and relationship patterns of our parents. And that can be really scary. And the greater the depth of understanding that we have regarding this, then the more likely we are to want to change it or make peace with it. And our parents were a product of their times and the relationship habits, programs, and conditioning of their parents and primary carers, and so on. And the cycle of struggling relationships, it keeps on happening until somebody decides enough is enough. Well, you may be wondering, how do I do that? Well, tomorrow I will take you on a short guided meditation to connect with your parents and heal or deepen the relationship. But in the meantime, look more closely at this relationship with your dad. Maybe listen to the recording again and take notes, because this is really, really vital information. And ask yourself whether this relationship with your dad is an influencing factor in any relationship issues that you are facing today. If you're having problems in your partner relationship or marriage, or even with male work colleagues, have a closer look at whether there is a connection with unresolved issues with your dad. And it takes courage to do this work, but the rewards make it very worthwhile. I'll meet you again tomorrow in our next video. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye for now.